What if the voice in your head isn't even yours? What if the thoughts you believe are you were actually planted years ago by someone else? A parent's disapproval, a teacher's silence, a sibling's jealousy, a culture that taught you to shrink, to submit, to survive. You didn't choose that voice. It was installed, like malware, before you had the power to defend yourself. And now it runs your life like an invisible script. Every decision, every fear, every limitation, rooted in a narrative you didn't create. Most people never realize it. They chase success to silence it. They enter relationships to be validated by it. They self-sabotage just to confirm it's still there. But here's the truth most will never face. If you don't rewrite that inner narrative, it will keep writing your life for you. This video is not about healing. It's about resetting, wiping the code, erasing the version of you that was built on guilt, fear, and control, and rebuilding from nothing on your own terms. Because you don't need to find yourself. You need to reconstruct yourself without their voices in your head. Let's begin. The reset starts now. Part 1. The implanted narrative. You were not born doubting yourself. You were taught to. You were not born afraid to speak. You were silenced. You were not born ashamed of who you are. You were conditioned to believe you were too much, not enough, or wrong by default. It starts early, not with violence, but with something more subtle, more permanent. A disapproving glance when you expressed joy, a cold shoulder when you cried, a sarcastic remark when you failed. Moments so small you didn't question them, you just adapted. You learned to shrink your voice to stay safe. You learned to overachieve to feel seen. You learned to tolerate disrespect just to avoid abandonment. And the worst part, you thought it was normal. Because when you're a child, you don't ask, "Is this programming?" You ask, "What's wrong with me?" That question becomes the root. And from that root, a narrative grows. I have to earn love. I'm a burden. I'm not allowed to be angry. If I mess up, they'll leave. These aren't thoughts. These are scripts. Invisible lines you keep reciting. Without even noticing. You think it's your personality. It's not. It's programming. You think it's your intuition. It's not. It's conditioning. You've been running a script that someone else wrote for you. And the longer you run it, the more it feels like you. But it's not you. It's a mask. It's a cage. And it's time to burn the page. Part 2. The cost of unchecked narrative. There is a cost to carrying a story that was never yours. And that cost is your life. You think you're making choices, but you're just following instructions, buried so deep you mistake them for instincts. You avoid conflict because the script says, keep the peace or lose love. You over-explain because the script says, if they misunderstand you, it's your fault. You stay small because the script whispers, who do you think you are? You hustle for approval, perform for affection, stay silent to be safe. All while telling yourself, this is just who I am. No, it's not. It's who you were trained to be. And the worst part? The narrative defends itself. It doesn't want to be questioned. It wants to survive. So every time you try to step out of it, it strikes back. You're being selfish. You're overreacting. You're not good enough to change. It uses guilt as a leash, shame as a lock, fear as a cage. That's why most people never escape it, because to rewrite the story, you first have to admit that you've been living someone else's. And that's uncomfortable. It threatens everything you've built: relationships, identity, even your sense of reality. But here's the truth. Comfort is the reward for staying controlled. Discomfort is the price of taking your mind back. One keeps you asleep. The other wakes you up. Choose wisely. Part 3. The Reset. You can't overwrite a program while it's still running. You must shut it down. This isn't about motivation. It's about mental deconstruction, system reboot, code wipe. And it begins with one brutal step. Name the script. Write it out. Literally. The line you keep hearing in your head, the sentence that runs your choices, the belief that won't die. I have to earn love. I need to be perfect. If I say no, I'll be abandoned. If I fail, I'll be nothing. Stop calling it just how I am. Call it what it is: a mental implant. Once it's on paper, it loses power. Because now it's no longer subconscious. It's exposed. Now you interrogate it. Who installed this? When did I first believe it? What did it cost me to obey it? And most importantly, is it true? 99% of the time, it's not. It never was. It was a projection of their fear, their insecurity, their control. But you made it your truth, and it became your lens. Now, everything you see is filtered through that lie. That ends here. This is your reset point. You're not deleting memories. You're deleting the meaning they forced on you. You're not running away. You're rewriting the map from within. Because the real prison isn't physical. It's the voice in your head that says, you can't escape. Erase that line. That's how you begin. Part 4. The New Narrative. Once the old script is exposed, you don't just delete it, you replace it. Nature hates a vacuum. And the mind, it will always default to the last installed command. So if you don't write a new one, the old one will crawl back. Stronger, subtler, smarter. That's why this part is critical. You must construct a new inner narrative, consciously, deliberately, and with precision. Not affirmation, not fluffy optimism, but command statements that realign your identity at the root. Not, I am loved and worthy, but I don't chase validation. I define value. Not, I deserve peace, but I remove what disturbs my mind. No permission needed. Every new narrative must do 3 things. Reject the old frame. Assert your sovereignty. Align with action. Because this isn't just about what you say. It's about what you do with what you believe. Let's be clear. I can say no means nothing until you say no and don't explain it. I don't owe them anything is just theory. Until you walk away and don't look back. Your nervous system won't like this. It's addicted to the old story, the guilt, the fear, the need to please. It will scream, it will resist, it will try to pull you back into the script. That's how you know you're doing it right. Because when you start writing your own lines, everything programmed to silence you will try to speak louder. Ignore it. Keep writing. This time with your hand on the pen, not theirs. Part 5. Lock the reset. A new narrative is fragile. Words alone won't anchor it. Behavior does. Until you act on it, it's just theory. Floating in your head, vulnerable to doubt, guilt, and regression. This is where most people fail. They rewrite the story, but they keep playing the same role. They say, I don't need approval. Then over-explain every decision. They say, I choose peace. Then respond to every provocation. Nothing changes until behavior enforces belief. Think of your mind like code. A new script won't take effect until it's run through action. You say, I'm allowed to take space. Now skip the family dinner without apologizing. You say, my emotions are valid. Now set a boundary and hold it, even if they push back. You say, I don't chase love. Then don't reply just because you feel lonely. Every time you act in alignment with your new narrative, you're sending one clear signal to your subconscious. This is who we are now. Not maybe, not someday. Now. And the more consistently you act, the faster the nervous system adapts. The guilt fades. The anxiety quiets. The old voices grow weaker. Until one day, you don't hear them at all. You move in silence. You speak with clarity. You choose without explanation. Not because you're trying, but because the old code is gone. And the new one, it's you. Part 6. Conclusion. The ultimate reset. Most people never question the voice in their head. They obey it, defend it, call it identity. But identity is not fixed. It's not fate. It's a script, and scripts can be rewritten. The moment you realize that, you become dangerous. Because nothing is more powerful than a mind that no longer runs someone else's code. You stop reacting to guilt. You stop negotiating your worth. You stop explaining yourself to people who only listen to judge. You no longer live to maintain the illusion. You live to embody the truth. And the truth is simple. You are not who they said you were. You are who you decide to become. And that decision is made in silence, reinforced in solitude, and proven through action. You've wiped the old story. You've written a new one. Now it's time to live it. Without compromise, because your life doesn't change when you think differently. It changes when you stop playing the character they assigned you and start becoming the author they never wanted you to be. CTA. For the next 72 hours, write down every thought that begins with I should or I have to. Then ask yourself, says who? If the answer isn't you, burn it. Rewrite it and act on the new line, because your mind isn't a reflection of your past. It's a weapon. Use it like one. Fade out